Hi, my name's Eric, welcome back to my channel. Let's talk about Slayyyter. This week she released her brand new self-titled mixtape, and I am so excited to listen to it. I've talked about Slayyyter in 3 videos so far on the hyperpop movement, which includes artists such as Donatachi, That Kid, and Aisha Erotica, all of whom actually make appearances on this mixtape. This mixtape I think has already been receiving hype outside the pop music community. I saw it charting on iTunes, and Spotify created a hyperpop playlist with Slayyyter as the face of the playlist, which was very exciting to see. I've heard and talked about a few of the singles, and I'm excited to see where Slayyyter has taken her sound and her vision as an artist with this mixtape. As always, if you have any requests for video topics or artists or songs or albums I should react to, let me know in the comments down below, and please subscribe to be here when I post new videos every week. Without further ado, let's dive right in with track number 1, BFF featuring Aisha Erotica. Okay, as always, I've got to cut it off at these first few lines because here Slayyyter is giving us the world that she lives in. As I've talked about before, Slayyyter and many of her peers are very influenced by the early to mid aughts with Britney Spears and reality TV and those sort of aesthetics, the sort of Beverly Hills and Orange County sort of vision of luxury, and that's what's going on here. We have the white Jeep, we have the partying and the alcohol, but specifically a house party at her friend's dad's house. So this is a very teenage version of that sort of lifestyle. So there are multiple layers of nostalgia going on here. We have the nostalgia of a high school house party and, you know, being reliant on your parents, and also the nostalgia of the 2000s. Okay, something important here, drinking champagne till it hurts. Like I talked about on my Charlie reaction, which I will link up here if you haven't seen it, partying in pop music usually comes with a catch. A lot of the language culturally that we have about partying tends to involve some sort of violence. You think of let's blow the roof off this place, or let's get wasted. That's the same sort of dynamic that's going on here. We don't usually see partying without some sort of damage or destruction going on, whether it be cathartic or just purely harmful. And that, of course, is what makes it interesting. Okay, super nostalgic, I love it. She's talking about Juicy and cell phones. Of course, she uses the word celly just like on mine, and the images that she's using are very materialistic and commercial, which again is nostalgic and it's fun, but it feels sort of surface level. It feels like sexy in the sense of like fashionable. We are fashionable out together, wearing these clothes, driving these cars, flirting with these boys, and again, it feels qualified. I like how dark the synths are. That's important. Okay, cool. I think we'd rather stay in Dior than enter the real world. I talked about the friendship possibly being superficial and being based solely on looks. Here, Aisha is expanding on that illusion. She's saying we are sort of in this bubble of, you know, wealth and luxury, and we aren't being confronted with the reality, and we are basically feeding off each other in that way. But of course, we can still enjoy that this is a fantasy. The Dior and the Jeep and the pink seats and, you know, whatever else is luxurious, it's all fantasy. The production is great as always. I love how Slayyyter and Aisha work together. Like I said, I think BFF works really well to set up the world that Slayyyter lives in, not only the reality world of, you know, this sort of wealth and luxury, but also the fantasy world that she lives in emotionally and psychologically. But in any case, I really enjoyed that track. Track number 2 is mine. I have talked about this song before on my channel, so I'll just give some brief thoughts as I listen to it again. Okay, like I mentioned before, Tempted feels more qualified than, you know, attracted or in love or something like that. Again, it's this sort of tainted romance. Couple things really quickly. I love the house influence on this track. Also, apparently it went viral on TikTok, as did Vacation Bible School by Aisha Erotica. The more ways people can hear about the hyperpop movement, the better, honestly, because this is very interesting music and really fun. More partying, of course. Okay, cool. I've listened to the song before, so I didn't go into that much detail, but we have this similar sort of world building going on. We are moving out of the suburbs and into the city more with the club and with this hookup that happens. And we have illusions going on again. This was a probably one-time thing, a nameless hookup that she wants to develop into a love. There's a disparity there in how she feels about the situation versus the reality, just like on BFF, where Aisha pointed out that they weren't really living in a reality. Alright, track number 3 is possibly my current favorite Slayyyter song, and it's called Alone. I love the harder production on this song. Okay, this is super reminiscent of early 2000s pop, feels very Britney Spears. Of course, this song is about an old flame who has gone on to someone new, but still seems to be obsessed with Slayyyter and, talking trash about her behind her back. So we have her moving through different emotions, of course. On BFF, she was basically happy. On Mine, she was loving and romantic and pining. And here, she's mad. Okay, so here we're moving a little bit more into the situation surrounding this, bitter breakup. So a way that she's distinguishing herself from this old ex who she's basically demonizing is that this ex is obsessed with being cool and pursuing the scenes and the fads, whereas we can assume that she's not interested. This person is trying to be with the in crowd, trying to be cool, and is failing as like a partner by doing that, and she's just this sort of cool outsider, like, no, I don't need any of that. You're actually very uncool. There is something that leans kind of teenage about the content and themes in some of Slayyyter's music in a good way. I'm not saying it's immature, but it feels sort of evocative of like high school dynamics. Of course, we have BFF, and here the scenes and the cliques and the gossip feels pretty high school, but I think that's also part of the point, right? Like she's saying, you're basically acting like a gossipy teenager, grow up. Okay, so there was a sort of flip-flop tonally here where she said, your new girl is cute, but I'm also ready to attack. She's not trying to attack this new girlfriend, which is, a pretty evolved way of approaching this drama. She's not getting the new girlfriend involved. It's not her fault that this ex is a jerk. And then, of course, the convention of playing with fire. This person should know that Slayyyter is not one to be messed with. That's what she's saying. She is using different ways to assert herself, basically. Like, she's talked about her being, sexy and cool and fiery and wealthy and all these different things that create a sort of character who is like, this 2000s idea of like a celebrity. Okay, cool. And then here at the end of the chorus, we have this person, trying to, make amends and just messing up. Again, running back home. It's an expression, but when we keep imagining this person as sort of adolescent, that makes even more sense. Awesome. I love that song. I've been listening to it a lot lately, and it fits nicely in this character that she's developing. Like I mentioned, she's building herself up to be something, and maybe, like on Charlie, she will do something self-effacing and qualify that. Okay, track number 4 is Candy. Yeah, I mean, this is a sex song. A lot of the songs I imagine will be. Again, she's just adding bricks to this wall of the Slayyyter character. She's got the wealth, she's got the sex appeal, she's got the power. I love the bass on this song too. Okay, so yeah, this is pretty straightforward. In her writing, she's using really recognizable images. We know exactly what she's talking about. And while her vocal performance does feel very reminiscent of the 2000s, the production feels pretty modern and futuristic even, and I really like that split. Okay, so these songs have been pretty short so far. She is really hitting us really quickly with these tight, very fun pop songs. I guess appropriate to the subject matter, like the sweetness, it's sort of these brief sugar rushes that are happening. They're delivered in small, very concentrated doses that encourage re-listening, which is very clever. Track number 5 is Cha-Ching. I like this a lot already. Again, very 2000s, but the distorted bass is very bubblegum bass, very current. She's actually using this money metaphor to talk about something not quantifiable. She's talking about having something that can't be named, a cha-ching. What that is sounds like it's probably sex appeal again, but I guess we'll find out. Okay, wow, that rapid fire delivery is so fun. The rhythm on this song is awesome. She's talking about this other person foaming at the mouth. This other person, like on Alone, is jealous and bitter and wants something from her, like foaming at the mouth like rabid, and she's, shooing them away. Smoking all your cheese, but I got your breakfast. Trying to chill with me, oh no, so. Okay, you're smoking all your cheese, marijuana, but I've got your breakfast. It could be like on Candy, where she is describing her body as food, or she's saying like she's this person's meal ticket, like this person is blowing all their money on drugs, and she has to be the sugar mama, basically. But again, just like the language of this other person foaming at the mouth and her sort of disregarding them, saying you're so precious is pretty condescending. So if this is about someone that she's in a relationship with, she has the upper hand. Okay, so she really is a sugar mama. All of my boyfriends are calling me because I've got that cha-ching. Again, it could be metaphorical, it could be literal. Either way, it's still the same sort of Slayyyter character of, look at me, look at how cool I am, I'm rich in every sense. It's so fun and cathartic to listen to because, like, especially someone like me who's a grade A nerd, like, I'm never going to be this person. And that's a lot of the pleasure of like a flex song. You can vicariously enjoy this person's, luxury and wealth and power and whatever they have. And, that's the same sort of function of Slayyyter's music. Okay, this is interesting. She talked about trying to get with me at the scene. Again, on Alone, she talked about the scenes and the fads that this person was chasing. Again, we have a similar sort of character who, wants to use their wealth and power to get with her, wants to use this, like projected coolness of being part of a scene. And she's saying, none of that is working. I've got my own. I don't need anything from you. And again, just like this person was foaming at the mouth earlier, now they are baring their teeth. They are just mad and chomping at the bit, trying to get something from her, and she is refusing. This is so fun. Wow. Okay, I'm really impressed. I'm surprised at the pace that this mixtape is moving at because it's 14 songs. That's not a short mixtape. But with these songs being so short and so compact and so high intensity, it's so fun and so re-listenable. All right, track number 6 is called Devil. Okay, I'm toxic, full of poison. She is this sort of like snake in the Garden of Eden, this devil, this maybe seductress. And then she says, take a sip. That's the seduction. I am not good for you, but come get it anyway. This is sort of the mirror image, of course, of a song like Toxic by Britney Spears, where at that time she had been known to play more of an innocent character who's like, oh, you're the big man in the scenario. Like you can, assert dominance over me and, whatever. Like I'm being seduced by you. But here Slayyyter is doing the opposite. I am the toxic one. I am the person doing the seduction. Yeah. Okay, so she does have some very clear motifs going on across her songs. She has this partner getting burned, just like on Alone, she talked about playing with fire. She's got Sugar and Spice, which is a reference to her being like candy. She's driving her partner insane, like what happened on Mine. She's using those same images to portray herself not just as this, star with sex appeal, but also as someone whose sex appeal is dangerous. Again, that can be part of the enticement, but we do enjoy, as listeners, hearing this conflict between the darkness and the light. Okay, we've got devils, we've got snakes. She's going biblical on us. She's in the Garden of Eden. She is the temptation. She is the original sin. She's playing with this trope of the woman being the seductress and being the source of evil and claiming that and saying, yeah, and I think that makes me powerful. All right, track number 7 is called Your Man. Okay, we have the scenario. She was out, having fun. She was presumably in her happy place, drinking and listening to Britney Spears. And, she was accosted by this strange man whose girlfriend is now suddenly jealous. And we will see how this plays out. I imagine from the sound and from the content, we're going to be in a similar sort of emotional mode to where we were on Alone. Okay, so now we have more information. They kissed. It makes sense then that the girlfriend would be mad. Slayyyter might not have known that, this guy was in a relationship. It wasn't, like she's saying, going to develop into anything anyway, but this is dramatic. That's really funny. You're both hitting up my phone. Can you both leave me alone? That's hilarious. This is actually, like I mentioned, very much a parallel situation to Alone. On Alone, this ex was texting her while also talking trash about her. He was talking out of both sides of his mouth and, constantly hitting her up. Now we have more people coming at her with this drama. It's really funny. This is really hilarious. We see a lot of this actually on Slayyyter's songs. Before, it was on Cha-Ching that she was saying, like, you keep coming for me, you want something from me, and I'm trying to brush you off. We have Slayyyter then as this character who, for one reason or another, is grabbing the attention of a lot of people. She has this sort of, like, celebrity going on, right? Like, infamy or fame, whatever it may be. She has the sex appeal that has guys chasing after her. She's got this money that has people chasing after her. And she has this fire in her that gets her into conflict with people, and that attracts them to her in that way. So in that way, again, this is another way of her bragging. Ooh, harmonies. Really tight hooks. This is so fun. This is super danceable too. Very club ready. I'm really impressed so far. All of these songs are so concise, they have such clear ideas. Even with the sort of overlap that goes on, she has different angles that she's looking at this attention from, which seems to be the central idea that's emerging. How many eyes she has on her, how much attention she's getting. I'm really enjoying it so far. The next track, track number 8, is a song that I've also talked about a bit before, Daddy AF or Daddy AF, however you want to say it. The problem with this song, though, for me, is that I don't want to have to like censor stuff on my channel, and of the lines on this song, probably like 95% of them use the F word, so I don't think I can play much of this song in my video, so I'll just talk briefly about it, but you know that I enjoy it. Okay, yeah, we have the same sort of thing. The sex appeal and the partying. It's pretty straightforward. It's another flex song. She plays with gender tropes here, you know, with her saying that she is daddy. She does that with the ways that she talks about sex in this song too. I'm not going to get too graphic, but again, like, she's been playing with pop culture tropes. Here, it's a reversal. It's not in a way that necessarily undermines the tropes. She is using the tropes to, again, build this character who is always flexing in one way or another. Sonically, again, this song is more hip-hop influenced, whereas some of the other songs are poppier. I think all of them have some sort of degree of hip-hop influence and R&B influence, but one of the defining characteristics that has surprised me so far is how hard the beats are and how hard the production is, especially the focus on bass and really distorted and textured synths, which isn't as mainstream poppy as we expect, but like I mentioned in my Banks video, there does seem to be an increasing popularity with textures and with distortion in a lot of pop music, just like Billie Eilish has popular songs right now that are distorted. I think it's a space sonically that's very suited to Slayyyter's style and to the hyperpop movement in general, and I think it works really well. Track number 9 is called Motorcycle. Also, if there isn't like a revving noise, I'm gonna be disappointed. On the one hand, motorcycles do tend to be like the sort of bad boy image in music. Like, it's so romantic, we're out on the open road. It's very Lana Del Rey. It happened, I think, in Ariana Grande's Into You music video. On the other hand, considering the context, it might not be a literal motorcycle. Yeah, this definitely has more reverb and expanse that feels like an open road. Okay, that's funny. I want rock and rollers, I want rolling stoners. Of course it's the Rolling Stones, but it's also a drug pun. Rolling can mean high, and a stoner is someone who habitually is high, so that's a very fun pun there. You know what, I said I wanted motorcycle sounds. The sort of sigh that she does in the background does sound very much like a car or motorcycle disappearing into the distance. You know what I mean? I don't think that's a stretch. I think they were definitely going for those sort of sounds here. Okay. Ooh, this is fun. This is very bubblegum bass, too. Ooh, this is definitely club. Oh my gosh. I really like this. That was really good. Wow. This is really impressive. Like, I enjoyed the singles that I had heard, but I think the overall tone is very consistent, and the pacing is just so smart. Track number 10 is Celebrity, and I believe this one features or was produced by Donatachi. Okay, yeah, this is super 2000s. We've got a pink limo, we've got a sex tape on TMZ. It's very 2000s reality TV. We know who she's talking about. I love it. The sense of humor and irony is also really fun. And it's not just that it's poking fun at this idea, it's enjoying it. Like, there is something that Slayyyter and, you know, her peers are excited about and interested in with these sort of aesthetics and with these scandals. Another strong hook. Okay, and then that was a reference to cocaine. She is saying that, I have all this celebrity, but also, like, here's the qualification. It's the drugs and it's the wasting money and the scandals and, it's luxurious and glamorous, but also, like, kind of not. Like, she wouldn't be saying, don't blame me, if there weren't something that she feels in trouble about. Okay, I'm Hollywood's new mistress. I've made it onto the D list. Again, that's from the sex tape idea. Like, I am known for, being this, I don't want to say sex object, but I'm known for sex, basically. And where has that put me? I have a cocaine habit, I blow all my money, and I'm on the D list. It's still been the goal, but again, we have all of these hints that it's just not quite all it's cracked up to be. We are pretty deep into the mixtape to really have a story where she experiences emotional lows. I think her strategy is less to have a storyline in that way and just to have different layers going on within each song. So the conflict doesn't come from starting at a high and ending at a low or something like that. The conflict comes internally. So, like, on Alone, she is this desirable person, but she's dealing with this, shady ex. And here she's a celebrity, but she's dealing with all of the, baggage that comes with that. And so I think that's the way that she tells stories. Track number 11 is called Tattoo. That was a fun detail. After she said, make you mine, like on the song Mine, she said in the background, oh me, oh my. That's a fun Easter egg. Wow, this is way more straightforwardly pop, and it is so fun. So the idea of her being this person's tattoo does feel like a more desperate love, I think, than we've had before on this mixtape. Of course, a tattoo is, like, in someone's skin, so she's basically saying, like, I want to be so close that we are, like, sharing skin. That's sort of, it's weird to think about it that way, but you know what I mean, like that level of intimacy. But also a tattoo is, an object, basically. Like, she's saying, I can just be the picture of what you want, and it'll be a purely bodily proposition. And she makes that clear from her motives too, right? Like, she says, all I want to do is spend the night with you. Like, that is my one desire, and I will do anything to get it. She asks if this other person likes her too. Again, she is insecure and maybe a little desperate. Put my name all on your body. So something that she does well, as does someone like that kid, is take a central image and use it in different ways to talk about an emotional experience. So here she's using the tattoo image in different ways to talk about her desire for this other person and the ways that this other person can express their desire for her. Yeah, this is definitely way more of like an 80s pop song. This is probably the most Carly Rae Jepsen she's sounded on this entire mixtape. She talked about her name looking nicest when it's on this guy's bicep, and again we have the sort of devotion, like basically the tattoo as like an engagement ring. I think also Slayyyter does like to evoke some sort of trashy images. Again, that's not a judgment call, that's something that she has declared, and I think there does tend to be some judgment about tattooing names on bodies. I've heard the advice many times, don't tattoo like a partner's name on you, because if the relationship ends, then that's stuck there forever, or you have to get it covered or removed, and that's a pretty common idea, and I think that's kind of what's going on underneath here, but it's still very cute and romantic on its surface. So yeah, we're basically being delivered banger after banger, and for that, I thank you, Slayyyter. Track number 12 is one I've been waiting for, E-Boy featuring That Kid. Okay, to me, again, this feels like illusion, like she's not meeting in person. Before she met a guy at the club, now she's meeting a person online. Seems to be like a sex chat. Again, doesn't sound like the stablest foundation for a relationship, but again, we can enjoy the fun while also realizing that there is some sort of level of illusion going on here. Okay, Kiss Me Through the Screen reminds me of Kiss Me Through the Phone, you know, that song from like the mid to late aughts, I think. And again, we have the illusion, Kiss Me Through the Screen. It's not tactile, it's not real, it's still cute. And it feels very adolescent. Again, we have like the AIM chat rooms and things like that. Okay, they work really well together. Their styles are meshing beautifully. Here, that kid is taking on the role of like a webcam model being sent money. So again, we have another layer to this illusory relationship. Slayyyter was talking about, you know, being like sort of a long distance couple over the webcam. Here, that kid is saying, actually, you're paying me. Like, this is my job. Like, this isn't a relationship. We're not dating. We're not, you know, connected. This is transactional. Okay, good bridge. I love that she is preserving bridges. That's really great. And again, we have E-Girl of Your Dreams. On the one hand, it's just an expression, but also the dream connects to the illusion. Again, it's not a real relationship, it is a business. Track number 13 is called Touch My Body. Okay, so this is very like Britney Spears Email My Heart, right? Like this new technology, which isn't new to us, but if we're, you know, looking back on the early 2000s, this is new. Like staring at your phone, waiting for this person to call. This could be a continuation from E-Boy, where she's saying, like, I'm still engaging in this fantasy online relationship, and like maybe he'll finally call, but again, we have that sort of separation. Okay, again, I'm a broken record, but I'm just going to point out that she's talking about a physical relationship. She has never so far talked about love just as love. She has only ever talked about the physical aspects. Even on E-Boy, when she sort of did feel more romantic, or on Mine, everything was still like a hookup, or, you know, I mean, you know, this is a hookup too. It's really just been hookup so far. That could be what we're celebrating, but again, I can't help but think that there's a little bit of a catch or like an emptiness. This is a great sounding chorus. It feels like late 90s dance music. You know what? I can't help but feel like, since this is her most cathartic song so far, I think, and with the repetition, this might be, like I talk about in like all of my pop videos, her moment of yearning, right? The moment that she is the most desperate. She is repeating the words touch my body over and over at least 20-30 times in this song. At that point, it sort of starts to sound like begging. Alright, with that in mind, we have reached the final song on the mixtape, track number 14, Ghost, or Ghost. Okay, sorry, I cut it off at the chorus, I think, but now she's actually in active pain, which is not something we have seen before. She has presumably been broken up with or just generally ghosted, and now she's sad. That's not something we've seen so far. I kind of felt that this would happen earlier on the mixtape and that we would climb out of it, but seeing her just basically fall off right at the end is a very interesting emotional story. Yeah, so she's been broken up with or ghosted. Pretty straightforward idea. So like I said earlier, the emptiness of the relationship and the way that she was approaching love maybe is part of the source of this breakdown. She said, "Don't sext another word." Again, that's what defined their relationship. Maybe that was the problem. Because not only is it purely sexual and physical, it's not even physical, actually, because it's over the phone. There's so many layers of separation emotionally. That's important. I'll cover that in a second. Okay. Now I live in my dreams. Since I am hurt, I am retreating into my dreams, into my fantasies. That ties back again to BFF. We are in this bubble. We live in our fantasies, our dreams of luxury, and we haven't been confronted by reality. Now Slayyyter has been confronted by reality, and what does she do? She returns to her dreams. That, as a character, can be her problem. She has an inability to face reality. Wow. Great echo right there at the end, feels very ghost-like, and I think I would like to hear more of this sort of stuff going on her future music, because throughout the mixtape, we sort of were in a very consistent place emotionally. We were basically bobbing on the surface of this ocean of Slayyyter's emotions, right? Like, underneath is all the darkness and her inability to confront reality, and we're sort of here on top dealing with like the money and the fame and the boyfriends and, you know, all of that sort of fun stuff, and sort of not quite seeing what's in the water. And so I think we have been able to extract that here on this closer. I think that's really cool. I think that she basically opens it up right at the end in a way that makes us want to re-examine what happened on the rest of the mixtape, and also personally makes me excited to see what she does in the future. I am eagerly anticipating Slayyyter's future music, and you can be assured that I will react to it here. As always, if you have any requests, let me know in the comments down below, and please subscribe to be here when I put out new videos every week. Thank you so much for being here, and until next time, that's it.